Ibrahim Ssemuju Nganda, Tira Municipality, Muhoozi.
The constitution has been overthrown. Ssemuju spoke about Mutwe. And Museveni's son said, I'm going to castrate him. He's in the basement running in Yankore. So here, right, your wheels, we go and see whether we'll survive. Because it's going to be hell. I mean, even a by-election 2 kilometers from the center, people can be beaten the way they were beaten. I remember 2005, 2006 election, the Honorable Livingstone Okero was representing Chua. He was beaten, his people were beaten, but he's far away. He told his story after election. So really, where we are now, I think we all prepare for the worst, because it will happen. Chaite was speaking about journalists being taken to UCC. But the one who ordered was Muhoozi. He said they should go there and they teach them. And all of you are afraid. You scatter around. There are very few journalists who won't even write about Muhoozi and what he does. But he's taken over control of the country. I mean, his father is officially 80. And I'm saying officially because he said he doesn't know when he was born. One of the daughters assigned him a date in September to celebrate a birthday. And he does celebrate, by the way. A date assigned to him by one of the daughters. So really, when you see bigger NRM people trekking to Saleh, others to the sun, I don't know where our boa goes, maybe to one of the daughters. So that's where we are. That is our situation, unfortunately. And going in the last election, I was still in FDC, I have left. I was responsible for heading nomination teams for 3 elections. In the last election, we were supposed to begin with a prayer at Najanankombe. The candidate was kidnapped before 2 kilometers before Najanankombe and taken. The Honorable Joel, they got nominated first. So as we were being nominated, they were being caned because they had finished the nomination. And these things are going to happen. See, that was a rehearsal. We are now under full military dictatorship, where the head of the family is grown old. I think he has, either the son has taken over the responsibility or he has assigned him. The son said in one of the tweets, in Rwanda, they write about him very well. In Uganda, journalists don't write about him very well. I will kill them. You've forgotten. So when you get beaten, and you see, don't make a mistake. They say sometimes he's drunk. He is not. He said in Rwanda, they write very well about him. Here, he will kill you. Now, a few months later, you're complaining that you were beaten in Kawembe. Didn't he tell you? So really, that's where you are, Shamim, and you journalists covering Parliament. You'd have asked Obua, who is a government whip, why did they lock you here when we were beating MPs during the coffee deal debate? He says, yeah, but you the physical person, you were, yeah, that's why I said, I entirely agree. That's why I said that all of us are victims, including you. So I meant it. That's why I'm saying you're a minister, but we are all in Parliament there. So somebody else was responsible. So finally, I think we have a duty, because you're not going to substitute our citizenship. We have to continue fighting for our own survival, but also for the survival of the country. I salute you guys. You must take the risk. Don't give up, but also prepare everybody. I remember when journalists were being beaten in Kawempe, you call someone, the phone is off. You try to call the families. And then eventually say, no, we have now been dumped at the Kawempe police station. We are making a statement. Statements about what? We don't know. So prepare, as I said, but please don't give up. Because we don't have the option to do so. But also be brave. One of the things that must happen on Press Freedom Day is celebrate those who have been brave. I think collectively, if you are, there are things they will not want to do. But when you begin giving up, because for the first time in my adult life, I have never seen journalists, and I'm not blaming anyone, but abandoning the story. Like it happened in Kawempe, because now you have to choose between the story and life. This has never happened in my adult life. Museveni came here when I was 12 years and 4 months old. He has never done something like that. So I also have no idea, but for me, I have written, because Muhoozi said I should die this year, I have written my will. Maybe it will be the only opportunity to communicate my story. So please thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ibrahim Ssemuju. Yes,
That is Ibrahim Ssemuju Nganda. Today, currently, in our country, Uganda, we are facing challenges. The most challenge is General Museveni and his son Muhoozi Kainerugaba. These two gentlemen are killers, are torturers, They don't love Ugandans, no way. They love themselves and their families, their stomachs, but they have no love for Ugandans. That's whatever they do, they are doing it for their encroachment on power. They are doing whatever they do for them to stay in power for life. Even if they kill you, doesn't matter. They do whatever they do for their family to stay in power. Now everybody is talking about Eddie Mutwe. Eddie Mutwe, the bodyguard, private, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu but Bobi Wine, the leader of National Unity Platform. Eddie Mutwe was abducted on 26th April 2025. Spent many days in unknown place. Now, just yesterday, Museveni's son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, came out with the picture, with the tweets, confirming he's the one holding in a man under his basement. And is vowing to behead him. Now, it's not Eddie Mutwe only alone that these gentlemen, these killers are up to. No, every Ugandan, wherever you are, they will come for you, no matter what you do, whether you speak or not. Now, let me just ask a simple question. Eddie Mutwe was abducted. Is being tortured for what? He did what? Nothing. Now, you who is not speaking, just silent somewhere, zipping up your mouth, saying, no, me, I'm not involving myself in those things, politics things, bro. I'm not speaking, They will arrest me. I don't want to be arrested. Was Eddie Mutwe abusing someone? Was Eddie Mutwe kicking someone? He boxed someone somewhere? No, because he is a gentleman who is calm, cool, bro, doing his duty as the security personnel for Kyagulanyi Ssentamu but Bobi Wine. That makes him to be arrested and tortured for giving protection to Kyagulanyi. That's his only problem. That's his only case he has to answer. But in whatever we do, whatever we see, whatever we follow in this on this continent, in this world, General Museveni and your son, what you are doing to Ugandans, it will come back to your ways. It will come back in your families. It will come back to you. Torturing, abducting, beating, whatever you do, killing, it will be in your family one day. Yes, it will visit you. Today it's visiting Ugandans because you have the power and authority. But tomorrow, you're gonna lose that power and authority. It will visit you. Ugandans will visit you. and you face it hot, you tell them why you are doing that to them. Yes, be ready.
As an observer,
If soft, it's okay.
I think, Shamim, you ask a question which I want to rephrase and probably say, how hard do journalists find it to report the story of election? Does that capture the thought you had in your mind?
It does capture it, but I want you to address yourself to if in any way you were part of those that observed the Kawempe elections.
Yes.
If you were able to see what
I did.
What happened, particularly at one of the polling stations at Kawempe Mbogo, where the Isanos were picked from, and the other colleagues, you as an observer, as a person that understands the law and understands what we are supposed to do, how hard do you find it to see us go through that
position?
Yes.
Of course, it's disheartening for me to see journalists beaten in elections, because you see, elections are not supposed to be war. Every time there is violence in elections, then the process is compromised. Then the integrity of the election cannot be spoken about. Then you cannot even report about that election. And most of the information that election observers and the world depends on concerning an election comes through journalists. So if the journalists cannot report the story, then there is no election. Without a journalist, there is no election. Without them doing their work, without them looking behind the scenes to see how is the process arranged, who is participating in the process, highlighting the issues that are happening in that election, then that election is no election. And I will try to contextualize a lot of these things using data. That Ugandans speak 80% of information from radio, and they take 14% of information from social media. Newspapers, 12%. And this is the Afrobarometer data that was produced before we did the 2021 election. The statistics have not changed significantly. They are lying in between there. The internet, 13%. But why do we talk about the media then? Because you see, I'm talking about 80% of information reaching rural and urban areas. For example, if I asked my brother Julius, he's here from the Electoral Commission, how many people will be at each polling station in the rural areas? How many people have been aligned to be in each polling station in the rural areas? And how many are going to be at each polling station in the urban areas? I'm a journalist. And so I'm saying I'm talking about this as a journalist. I need this information to know it. Why? Because numbers matter in an election. The law matters, but numbers matter. Because the numbers will reflect what exactly happened. If the journalist cannot see the connection between the result at the polling station and the national tally center, then there is no connection with the election altogether. If the data that the journalist has picked at the polling station is not being reflected at the national tally center, there is a problem with the election. And the person helping us to understand that transition between the polling station and the national tally center will be a journalist. I will go and give you a clear example of Kayunga. In Kayunga, there was an election. There's a woman who was called Nakwede. She belonged to the political party of Joel Ssenyonyi. She knows what she went through. A number of the DR forms she had from the polling station had no connection to what my friend Julius was reading at the National Tally Center. Now, if a journalist is to report that story, how do you begin to report? The story would be, at the polling station, the number of voters were 500. Those who polled were 446. But at the National Tally Center, it is 1,860 who polled at a particular polling station. Now, I will give you more examples from 20. You're going to respond, Julius, don't worry. from 2021. In 2021, I'm giving specific examples. And these stories tallied with what the observers saw. So the observers were at polling stations and discovered that the wrong ballots had been delivered at Nalukolongo TC polling station. The polling station was called Bulwa Polling Station in Wakariga. And Electoral Commission was alerted that the ballots that had been delivered to Nalukolongo TC at Bulwa Polling Station were not the right ballots. So the Electoral Commission went back to look for the correct ballots and bring them. But if the media and the observers had not been at that polling station to see what was happening, then probably the election would have gone ahead with the wrong ballots at the wrong polling station. I'll give a second example. In Nebi, Madi, Okolo, in West Nile polling station, officials delivered the wrong ballot papers for the election of councillors. The right ballots were only delivered much later, after the journalists had reported the story and the observers had highlighted the issue to the Electoral Commission. At Muhoozi sub-county in Mpigi district, elections were suspended. Why? The journalists and observers said the symbols for the candidates and the names and the pictures had been mixed up by the Electoral Commission in printing of the ballots. Do these things happen? They do happen. Will they happen in 2026? I can guarantee they will. But so how do you tell that story? Until you tell that story, and until the data is captured, many years later, you would have forgotten. So the role of the journalist cannot be more emphasized when an election is taking place in terms of promoting transparency, integrity, fairness, and credibility of an electoral process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charity Ahimbisiwe.
Journalism has a law, and that law is exposing. And General 7 doesn't want to be exposed to the world that is a bad person, is a dictator. He doesn't want that. That's why he's beating, caning, torturing journalists and Ugandans, because they are exposing him to maximum currently. Yay.
You see, as we are condemning the brutality occasioned by Mr. Museveni's son, Muhoozi, and then he gloats about it, beating of journalists, politicians, and so on. Then he posts and